Hey, welcome back everybody. My name's Miasma, and tonight I'm going to be doing another A Taste of Manga. Now, tonight's manga is one that was recommended to me by one of my patrons. By the way, I do have a Patreon, link will be down below. And if you join one of the categories, one of the perks is that you can recommend me manga and anime to talk about on this channel every month. And this kind patron requested me to do What Did You Eat Yesterday? The first volume by Fumi Yoshinaga. I want to make sure I say it right. Now this, I didn't really know much about this going in. A very brief description from my kind patron, and a little bit of research, but not a whole lot. All that I knew about this going in was that it was about a gay couple living in Japan, and it had a lot of cooking involved. Both of those are true. It is most certainly about a gay couple in Japan, and there's lots and lots of food. However, what I didn't really expect was there's a lot of interesting kind of commentaries that this manga makes about sort of being a gay couple, and sort of like different things that each character had to deal with, and how they handled it, and how they, just kind of go about their daily lives. It's about this guy named Shiro primarily. That's this guy. Shiro is a lawyer. Now he's not like a big time lawyer yet. He's kind of like taking it easy at this point. He handles like smaller cases, so he doesn't necessarily make bank in terms of money, but he does okay. He's kind of taking it slow. He is of the philosophy that he would rather do sort of the cases that he wants to do and make survivable income, rather than be making money while being miserable and working all the time. Now that being said, the survivable income apparently doesn't seem to be that much, because while both of them live together, they struggle financially, which is actually a big part of this. There's a lot of cool sort of like little like life lessons regarding like food and expenses and stuff like that they talk about a lot in here. It's partially sort of like a guide to like living on your own almost, or just like being an adult like on a budget, cooking for yourself, preparing meals for multiple days and so forth. Now Shiro has a passion for cooking almost as much as he has a passion for law. He's always thinking of recipes and stuff like that. He's always, and because he is rather frugal, he's constantly thinking about, oh, I can get this for 80 cents per pound here. I mean, I don't think they actually used pound because I don't, metrics, whatever. I can get this for 80 cents each here. I can get this, but it costs $1 at this store, so I'm going to walk a little farther and go to that store. Stuff like that. Stuff like, oh, this is going to be out of season soon. I better buy it now. I'm not going to be able to buy it in a few weeks. So he's really conscientious of his finances and being prepared for things to come. His boyfriend, his name is Kenji. He gets a lot less spotlight, I would say, in here, at least in this first volume. But he's a hairstylist, and both of them seem to be like rather good looking to women. Because a few times in here you get female characters that seem like kind of interested in them, or they blatantly will say so, and it's kind of a running gag that they're like, well, I'm gay, or like different like misconception type situations will happen where like the girl will think that that one of them is like coming on to her, and she's kind of like stressed out in the situation until one of them just blurts it out. Now, Kenji is the hairstylist. He's a lot more, I'm going to say the term open about his homosexuality. He says it to his coworkers and stuff like that, whereas Shiro is of the mindset that it's sort of a private thing. Like, why does he have to talk about it with other people? This actually goes into a lot of like how both of them told like their parents, in Shiro's case, he had told his mother, and his mother didn't handle it great at first, but she's slowly sort of going in the opposite direction as time goes by. Like she brings it up a lot in conversation. She asks a lot of questions about her son's boyfriend, and I feel as though like she's sort of like Shiro might be happy that she's not necessarily like disapproving, but I think the mother's like trying too hard, if that makes sense. And Shiro's kind of uncomfortable with it. And his father seems to be in sort of the sense that like it's almost like a phase. He's in here like very little, and that only kind of happens toward like the latter half. That's just kind of my assumption from the few scenes that he was in. So I think a realistic possibility of what might happen. Again, I'm not homosexual, so I didn't have to deal with any of this. But I'm going to assume that this type of situation has probably happened to people out there. Now, Kenji, like I said, the hairstylist boyfriend guy, he is way more open about it. He actually there's actually a little bit of a fight in this about he brings it up at work, and Shiro's like, "Why are you bringing it up to work? Why is that their business?" And he's like, "Well, I don't want to be the only person at my work that doesn't talk about their loved ones." And that was very interesting because, the other people at work would talk about their husbands or their wives or whatever, and here he was wanting to talk about the guy that he loves, and he's comfortable in doing so, and I think he wishes that Shiro was comfortable as well, and the two of them do have a good relationship here. I've never watched yaoi stuff or read yaoi stuff or anything really. Of any of those subgenres or anything. So this was kind of my first like delve into a story about a homosexual couple, really. But it did seem, the relationship seemed very believable. They seemed like a good match for each other because it's sort of the opposites attract sort of thing, right? They're different in a lot of ways, but they care about each other at the end of the day. One thing that I really, really liked is that this brings up just as I mentioned with the bringing up being gay at work situation, it brings up a couple, I think, challenges to being, or just sort of like different thought processes I think that homosexual people might go through. One of them is that Shiro is so frugal and right, he's good at saving money, but one reason that he actually brings up that really made me think is like, he says, well, we're gay, we're not going to have children necessarily, so we're not going to have people in the future that will be able to look out for us. We kind of have to look out for ourselves. And I found that really interesting. I don't know how often people adopt in Japan, so I don't know how that is. But I do know that I guess there is the mindset that, like, I think, like, one generation is sort of the foundation for when their parents like get older and stuff like that, they help out. Probably much more so than we do here in America, which I think is something pretty respectable about Japan. But yeah, he brings up a great point there. And it's just that something I never ever really thought about, and it's interesting to hear from a gay character's mouth. And like I said, their relationship's really, really cool in this. And they bring up, a lot of this is them having some conversations like that, based upon like whatever had happened during their workday or whatever. And during the workday, Shiro is constantly thinking about these cool recipes. There's a lot of recipes in here. In fact, at like the end of like every chapter, they give you one. And even like at the end. And a lot of the dialogue is actually him sort of describing how he's going to make this dish, how he's going to attack it differently, in like a cost-effective manner, which is pretty cool. If you're really into cooking, especially Asian kind of food, this would be, I think you'd really like this. If you like stories about gay characters, then you'll probably really like this. As much as I've praised this, I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. Neither of the things that I just mentioned are stuff I would traditionally put in my wheelhouse, let's say. I don't really like cooking all that much. I don't really cook all that much personally. I'm not that interested in making food, and if I were, it wouldn't really be a lot of these like Japanese recipes on here. Like they do a lot of like tuna and rice kind of stuff, and salmon and pickled plum, like a lot of stuff that I've heard of like Japanese people eating. And I know it's a book from Japan. Like duh, what am I good? What should I expect? But yeah, so I don't think I would continue this personally. Also, the art style it looks alright, but it can be kind of lazy at times. Like I don't know, like you'll get like scenes where like people just sort of like inconsistent, I think. And like it does a lot of like silly kind of goofy faces and stuff like that that kind of get old after a while, and they repeat a lot of these faces. So I don't know, just it wasn't really for me. A lot of the backgrounds were just like really lame. It's just a lot of like you get a lot of just like one color in the background, like not a whole lot of like detail. So artistically, I didn't think it was that great. Story wise, it impressed me. Character wise, it for sure impressed me. And there was a whole lot more recipes than I thought would be involved, but hey, I know a lot of people might like that. So this is a classic case of something that I would recommend reading. I think you should check out What Did You Eat Yesterday, because I don't really hear a whole lot of people talking about this, and I'm really glad that I know now that this exists. I very much like reading and watching sort of niche things, because, you know, there's a million people making videos on the internet about One Piece and about all these things that are probably very good, but I feel like a lot of other good stories fall by the wayside, and I think this could be one of them. I think this is going to be a really good manga for a lot of people. It's just not something I'm really interested in continuing. But I do recommend checking it out if you can. It's called What Did You Eat Yesterday by Fumi Yoshinaga. If you guys have read this manga, let me know what you thought about it down below. Yeah, check out my Patreon. I want to thank my awesome patrons for their recommendations this month, and you know, their awesome donations. They help me do what I do. And thank you anybody to watching this and supporting me. If you like what I'm doing here, you know, give it a thumbs up. Maybe hit that bell thing. You know, just press a whole bunch of buttons down there besides the dislike one. Yeah. Let me know if you guys have read this. Let me know what you thought. Thank you so much for watching. And my name is Miasma, and I'm signing out.